Sir, you're on mute, sir.
I don't know.
I got a call. This one, first one done, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Second one, can you write? 1 minute, let me connect to. Second one, how we will write? Class
Employee.
by one brace, close brace.
String.
What is the last name? Data type?
String.
Last name? Last name, comma. Only one, right? Semicolon close.
Decimal. Experience. Salary.
Next one, third one. Create a class. Customer. Last name. Last name. Experience. Create a method. Display. Create a method. Display, which will print the last name, first name, experience, salary. To write this one. Can anyone tell me? First one, how we will create them? Create a class. You know, right? How to create a class? Public class. Correct? What they are telling? Four
String
variables we
decimal.
have to. Four variables we have to declare. Correct? String, last name, string, last name, first name, experience and salary. Decimal experience and salary. Decimal experience and salary. What is the next point in this? Create a method display. So how to create this method? It's a just print method, right? You are not returning anything. What type of method we have to declare? Anyone tell me?
No return type with parameter.
Yeah, tell me the syntax.
Uh, Public void display.
Public display underscore. So what they are telling?
We have to print the
Print
last.
the simply we will print. We will not assign any values. Simply we will print the existing
This variable
variables.
declaration above is enough, sir.
Yeah.
Declared above, no, that is enough, no. Or we have to
This
declare again here variable.
no, no, not required. This is the global level, class level, right? This is the class level variables. That means any method you can utilize. Any one more method if you create also, there also we can call this system dot debug of
First name, first name.
first name, experience, salary. Writing in the application or notebook. Try to execute in the application always. What is the outcome for this? Can anyone guess? What is the output for this program? Output for this program?
Null.
All null values we will get, correct? Because default values, we told, right? What is the default value of the string? What is the default value of decimal? Got my point? That one we will get. Just check this one, important. So let me create customer class, the developer console. I will use this one only. Let it be first name, this one only. Okay. So I will create one more method here. Everyone done up to here? Just
Sir,
execute.
here you have to create object, right, sir, to execute.
Yes, yes, yes. Object we have to create. See, this class is there. Method example3 class obj equal to new method example3. Object class object created. Method calling we will do the method calling. How it will be? Method calling would be like this. Method name is display method. So this is the way we have to create class object. Execute. Click on execute. It will create a log file. Double click on that. Debug only. See all what you are getting. All what you are getting. Null. Everyone clear? Query that program. Write down, execute it, and check the output what you are getting. The output I will write here. Null. So this is the output. This is the program execution process output. Complete and let me know. We'll go to next program. Everyone completed? Me.
Yes, sir.
One. Practice in the application. Everyone. Developer console. Simply don't write in the notebook. You have to practice. Create a class. I. Last name. First name. Experience. Salary. Create a method. Set data. Last name. Kiran. First name equal CH. Experience. Experience as 5 years. Salary. Salary equal to 50K. Create this one. Ask someone to share the screen. You can use existing code also. Previous examples. Previous example code also you can copy paste if you want. The variable names, everything same, right? me or hear me? Hear me?
Not able to hear your voice, sir.
Are you able to hear me or not? Hello.
Sir.
Drone is on mute. Don't know what is going on.
Now we can hear, sir.
No, it's clear, sir.
Okay. Anyone completed this example? Anyone completed? Able to hear me? Anyone respond? Able to hear me or not?
Yes, sir. We are able to hear, sir, now.
This example, everyone done?
Yes, sir.
Some exercises I will give. You can practice later. What is the number? This one? Fourth one? Huh?
Fifth.
You can practice later. Create a apex class. Create a apex class product info. Name. Quantity. ST. Example. Create a apex class. Create a apex class. Product info. Same thing. Product info. Create a apex class. Product info with name, price, quantity, GST total. Create a method invoke. Create a method. Will set the data. Data. Invoke method you have to create and set some data for that. What data we can set it here? Name. Name as iPhone. Price equal to 3000. Quantity. Total equal to. Total equal to. Price into quantity. GST equal 18%. 18% of the total. So one example you have to practice. Example. Example. Create a class college with the following members. Following members. Name. Date. Number of students. Of students. This one you can create it and create a method. Create a method. Will display the data members. Everyone writing part completed, just confirm me. Go to next topic.
Sir, one doubt. Example 6, it's after feeds new student or
Example, create a
yeah, state fee. Is that new student?
number of student. Number
Number
of
of-
student
okay.
is a variable.
Okay.
Number of student. You hyphen or something between number of student.
Completed, sir.
Completed, everyone.
Yes, sir. Complete, sir.
Next concepts, access modifiers. Access modifiers in Apex. Access modifiers. What are all access modifiers your Apex programming will support? Private, protected, number three, public, global. Private, protected, public. There are four different types of access modifiers your Apex programming will support. Access modifiers. Why we will use access modifiers, where we will use, that one we will see in the abstraction and encapsulation steps I will tell you. For that, go through this. What are all access modifiers your programming will support? Private, protected, public, global. One by one we will see. First side heading, private. We define any if you define any method or variable as a private, we can be able to access that one in the same class only that particular class, only that particular class. That's my point. If you don't define any access modifier in front of variable or method, that is by default it is a private only. If you are not giving anything, previous examples we saw. See here, for example, public void display is there. I'm removing this one. Here I didn't mention anything. Public string last name, public string first name, public decimal experience, public decimal salary. I didn't mention anything. What it is? What is the scope of these variables? What is the scope of these variables? In the class. Within the class. Outside the class, I cannot show. Outside the class, I cannot use this last name, first name, experience. Another class, for example, one more class is there. There also I want to utilize these concepts. I cannot. It will not allow because this is not public. This is a private method. Example, in home, assume some uh, three rooms are there. One hall is there. Any TV, if you place in hall, what is that one? What is the accessibility of that one? That particular TV, if you are
Public.
placing in hall, that is a public. All three room members can able to access. If you are placing in your room one particular room, what it is? What it is? It is a private.
Private.
You need to take permission and go inside and watch the TV. If you place in hall, it's not a public. It's a public. It's not a private. Got my point? Like that you have to think. What is public and private? Can able to access outside outside the program. That one we can call it as a public or global. Private is nothing but in the class level. If you are not giving anything, see void display is it's a private. I am not able to access this one. Even your anonymous window also it will not come. If I give this one also anonymous window, it's a private, it will like that it will tell. Not able to access. Everyone clear what is private? Write down one point first. If you define method or variable, if we define method or variable, define method or variable as private, then they can be they can be accessed accessed only within the class. Access to the class within the class. If you don't define any access modifier by default it is a private. By default it is a private. When we will use this private concept, if you are writing any test classes, where we will use this one, create a test classes will define as a private. Test classes we will write. The last topic I will tell you how to write the test classes. Why we will write the test classes? Code coverage should be 75%. More than 75% should be there. For every class, you have to write a test class. As a developer, that your responsibility. Every class, whatever you are writing, any class in the Apex, for that one test class we have to write. test class, unit test cases, unit test case. We have to write. For that, what we will do in front of a class and method, at the rate is test, at the rate is test, like that we will give. It's compulsory. You have to learn that. Every class you have to write, for all the dummy methods you have to write. Everyone clear? For that cases, we will use generally private concept. Protected. The second one is protected.
Sir,
When we will tell me.
sir,
Yes, Amma, tell me.
can we give class as private or it should be public always?
No,
Class.
no. What I told, right? See, what class it is? What
No,
class it is?
private.
This one. Saving. Top level type must have public or global visibility. Got my point? Top level type must have public and global visibility.
So it should
Then
be
maybe
public or global.
public or global. Classes always,
So
because
we
you
have.
are accessing outside, right? This is nothing but outside only. This window, this is outside only for this. That's why it's not able to identify. You can remove this one. Let me give public here. Save it. Saved. Anything mistake happened here? Saved now. See, unexpected token. Unexpected token underscore. Line number 8. What is that? So this one maybe. Method is not visible. Method is not visible. Void method class display. Why this is coming? Everyone attention. Why this is coming for me? Previously it was working fine. Why this is coming suddenly for? What is the reason?
Remote
Because
complete.
you are able to find the class. Because your class, you are able to access the class. Up to this line, it is executed properly. And this line, it is giving problem. Obj.display. Because display is not, uh, you are not showing, you are not giving access to outside. Class is identifying, but method case, it is giving problem. Method is not visible. What it means? If you give public again, it is accessible. Public or global.
Sir, if nothing is there, it will take as private, right?
Private. If you are not giving anything, it's a private. So now saved. Now I am not getting anything. See, it's executed properly. It is executed properly. Everyone clear on this very important concept in your project's regular work. You should know it's a basic things. What is public, what is private, you should know. Simply just I removed the method as public. I removed this one, the keyword removed. Now it is a private. We cannot access outside the world, outside the class. What is the scope of this one? This one. Hope everyone clear. Any questions? Protected when we will use. Protected when we will use. See, we have a Inherited classes. Inherited classes. Inheritance concept is there, right? OOPS concepts. What are all OOPS concepts? Any programming language which supports class, object, class, object. People should talk more. Not for
Encapsulation,
me. Not
polymorphism,
for me. This is for you.
inheritance,
Yeah.
abstraction.
Abstraction.
Inheritance, inheritance, polymorphism, and
Encapsulation,
encapsulation,
polymorphism,
abstraction. Encapsulation, abstraction, polymorphism, inheritance. These are the OOPS concepts. In that, inheritance concept is there, last one. In that we will use, there is a parent class and child class relation. Parent class, parent class, and child class. Parent class and child class. In this case, we will use protected keyword. Protected keyword. Inherited members. Inherited members. In that case, we will use protected. Write down. If you define, if you define method or variable as protected, protected. If you define method or variable as protected, they can be accessed. They can be accessed only within the class. Only within the class. That is the first criteria. Only within the class. And within child class or inherited class. Within child class or inherited classes. Inherited classes. The child class or inherited classes. Inherited classes. Public. Third one side heading. Public. 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 If you define any class, method, variable as a public, they can be accessed within the class or anywhere in the application. Within the class, one thing, one scope. Second scope is anywhere in the application. Anywhere in the application. That is the accessibility of the public. There is a slight difference between global and public, I will tell you. So, for example, if you are writing any web services outside the organization, this is within the Salesforce org, I'm telling. Within the application means within the org. Here outside the org. Outside the org. Outside the org. Outside the org. That means web services. Any web services, if you are doing, that time we will use this global keyword. You are exposing as a service. Your data you are exposing as a service. Third party APIs, REST API, SOAP API. Services you are consuming. That time we will use global. Global. Write down first public. If you define class method, if you define, class, class, comma, method, method, comma, variable, variable as public, variable as public, public, they can be accessed, they can be accessed only class, comma, method, comma, variable as public, they can be accessed within the class, within the class, within the class, within the class, or anywhere in the application, in the application. Anywhere in the application. Anywhere in the application. Next side heading global. 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 If you define class, method, variable as global, if you define class, method, variable as global, they can be accessed within the class. They can be accessed within the class. Within the class. Second point, within the application. Within the application. Within the application. Or outside the application. Outside the application. Or outside the application. Outside the application. Next point. Generally, web services will be defined as global. Web services will be defined as a global. Generally, web services will be defined as a global. Web services will be defined as a global. Methods and variables we can define public and methods and variables. Methods and variables will define. Everyone complete, ma? Everyone completed?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Next is editing object. Next is editing object. Object. What is object? What is the definition? Standard definition for object? Anyone tell me?
Instance of class.
Instance of a class. Right on. A of a. It is an instance of a class. is a instance of a syntax create object class. You know already, but just write down. Got it. Class name is obj place. You can write whatever you want. So obj place, you can write whatever you want. This is the new keyword. Just label it. What is this new keyword? We'll do. This part is the constructor part. This is the constructor. This whatever box I given, right? That one we can call it as a constructor. This the new is the keyword. New is the keyword. New keyword. New keyword. Will create. We will create a object. It will create a object. What is this? This complete part. What we can call constructor. Constructor. TRU. Constructor. The constructor. Complete part we can call it as a constructor. What is this class name? Directly we'll give the class name only. It's a kind of data type, right? The what is this class name? It's a data type. Defined data type. What is this one object? It's object.
Variable.
A variable. Class name. Variable or class name. Okay, class. Write down this one. Will be useful for a later point of time. Labeling like this only you can give. Next one side heading. Constructors. Constructor in constructor in constructor in effect. Got right this keyword. What is this one? We have to see. All part of object oriented programming only. Whatever we are discussing as of, these are all part of object oriented program. Because your Apex is a object oriented programming language. That one always we have to remember. Apex is a object oriented programming language. What is constructor here? Constructor is a special method. Constructor is a special method defined in the class. It is a special method where we will define the class. The class. Constructor is a special method. There are some rules. Don't write anything. I will tell you. Just listen. Constructor will have same name. Constructor will have the same name of your class name. That means constructor name and your class name constructor name and your class name should be same always. Constructor will not have any return types. Constructor will not have any return types. Even void also we cannot write. Void also we cannot write. Constructor name and class name should be same. It should not have any return types. It should not have any return types. Your constructor name and your class name should be same. That is the first rule. Constructor will not have any return types. Even void also we should not write them. Okay. So why we will use the constructors usually to initialize the data members. Initialize the data members, we will use the constructors. To initialize the data members, we will use the constructors. Got my point? To initialize the data members, if you want to give any variables values, some values, for example, employee working hours 8 hours. It's a common, right? It's a fixed one. One time I will assign that value. Entire program I will utilize that variable only. One time I will utilize, or one time you initialize in the constructor level, then utilize the same program in entire uh, wherever you want. Or open database connection. First time you open database connection or fetch the data, write a SOQL query, fetch the data and save somewhere in the variable. Utilize that variable n number of times. For that purpose, we will use constructors. Any questions? When it will call this constructor at the time of while writing the new keyword, while instantiating the object for that particular class, that time your constructor will call very first time program loading very first time your constructor will call. Here there is no constructor, but internally it will take. Here I didn't write any constructor in this program. You are initializing here, correct? You are writing a new keyword, class name obj equal to new class name. When you write this particular line, that time internally the constructor will happen here. You are not able to see internally what will happen if you are not writing also. See how to write the constructor here. Public class name, method brackets, method brackets, open brace, close brace. This will call. Internally, this will call. This is the constructor. This is the constructor. So here, when you write anything, that's why I told constructor part. This is the constructor part. It will instantiate internally. That time, one special method will call any program, not only this program, any other program. If you are not writing also, default constructor will be there inside. This is user defined. If I want, I can write. I want to add some values for salary value. For example, the salary value I want to define in this. Remove the here salary. You give all 1,000 employees. We will use this one only. Only I will use 5,000 or something bonus. This value entire my program. This complete my program. I will use this value. One time you are initializing, every time you are utilizing. Or you connect to database and fetch the data from accounts. You are getting the data and saving in some variable. Then use that variable in the entire your program. Everyone getting very, very important constructor. As a programmer, you should have a clear picture the constructor. If anyone having doubts, just let me ask. Ask me now only. Any questions?
Sir, can we we are putting this in the anonymous window, right? So can we put in here? I mean, in the main page, we can use this method class object and new class define, and we can run it and it will work.
Means another class, huh?
No, it's in the same, like you told, right? There is like an, even if we don't define a class, it will be there. So if we create this class under the public class, it will work. I mean, if we don't define that in the anonymous window.
It will work because anonymous window, you want to see the results. That's why. Because individually we are learning the Apex programming. So now we want to see the results, right? For that purpose only, I'm using anonymous window. Later point of time, once Visual Force programming started, that time I will not connect to this one. I will bind it to somewhere. That time it will run individually. This application will run individually. Somewhere else we will create an object. From
Oh.
another class, maybe we will create object and we will bind it to Visual Force. There is no design, right, as of now. Just testing purpose, we are using this anonymous window to run execution. Individually, Apex, if you want to run, anonymous window is the best option. There is no UI, right, as of now for us. We don't know. See, later we will learn Visual Force individually. After that, we will combine both. Then you should have clear picture on that.
Okay, sir.
As of now, just I am creating here only. For this class object, I am creating here only, anonymous window, to see the results, what is going on. Not only anonymous only, this line, if you write somewhere else also, yes, this will do internally same. Whatever I told. What I told. Created the constructor, right? Constructor means class name and your method name should be same. See, this is the constructor. Here it is there. Yeah, this is the constructor. This will work. If you based on your requirement, you can assign the values. Otherwise, not required. See, previous example, I don't want to initialize 50,000 in the constructor level. That's why I didn't write. That means if this is not there, don't think like that. This will be there always. That is your wish. If you want to add any values, you can write this one. Otherwise, not required. No need to write. Writing also, it will work. We will call internally. Without constructor, program will not run. Simply I can say like this. There will be a constructor. Any other questions? No
Can we
questions?
give values before constructor? We have created the constructor, no, just now.
This is the constructor. Where is that?
No, we have a public method ex3 class constructor, and you have given value as salary equals some 50,000. So before constructor, can we give values inside class?
Before constructor means I didn't get your point.
Now here only can we give values. Now it is a class. Method class is there. So we have declared the variables. Now I have to give value to this last name. Can we give here?
Here, without constructor. Like this, you are.
Last name equals some name. It will take, sir.
Like this, you want.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It will work. It will work.
Or do we have to give after creating the constructor?
No, no, not required. Not required. Here we can assign the values. Straight away we can assign the values. Right away we can assign the values. What is the problem here? Line 6. So what is this is what your question, right?
Yeah, correct, sir.
So here constructor, usually constructor we will assign and
We will give values.
we will assign the values. So there are some rules. Constructor should not have any what do you call? Constructor should not have any return type, and the class name and constructor name should be same. Why we will use means to initialize the values. To initialize the values.
But why the error is coming at the last name?
We have to give forward slash or what, sir?
Where is the forward slash?
You just removed, no, that's
Assigning the values here. ABC. So what is telling unexpected token?
we assign the value.
The same value, let me give in the constructor. What is the how to define the constructor? Inside that you can. So all initializations we have to do in the very first time in the program, very first time. So it will run. The constructor will run. Very first time your constructor will call. Before going to methods, see method is there and this method is there. This is the constructor method and this is the normal method. Who will call first when you run the program? Who will call first? Constructor will call. Constructor will call and assign the values. It will initialize the values. Generally, when we will use this constructor, want to open any database operations. From database, you need to fetch some data. Entire program that values we are going to use. These values I am going to use in the another methods. Again and again, I don't want to write the query, SOQL queries or database interactions. Again and again, same query 10 times I'm writing in the same program. That is not good programming. So always first time you initialize in the constructor level, then utilize that values. Still any questions? What your question you are asking? Same thing. Values we have to define.
Without using the constructor, we cannot able to place the last name there.
Without using the
In
constructor, you cannot give ABC. That's what right I showed. It's giving problem error. Constructor
yes,
level
sir.
we have to initialize the values. Why we will use means data members you can initialize in the constructor level.
If we create constructor here, then there is no need to create again in anonymous window, right, sir?
No. Here you need to create a, you need to call, right, that method. Then how it will create? Instance, it should create, no? When you write this new class name, what will happen? In that time, immediately it will go to memory location, reference heap memory, and it will allocate the block of memory. Name of obj, it will create the object. Memory block name is obj. In this, whatever you want, you can save it. Methods, variables, operators, everything. These are all. Without writing new keyword, it will not allocate the memory in the heap memory location. That's what the instantiate means. This is the meaning. Object is a instance of a class means you are creating one block of memory and giving the name to that particular memory to save all your information, whatever constructors, variables, methods, everything will go and save in that particular obj memory inside this. So having constructors also it is having. Clear? Amma? Write down some points. After that, again, if you have any questions, you can ask me. First point, constructor first point, it is a special method defined in the class. It is a special method defined in the class. It is a special method defined in the class. It is a special method defined in the class. Second point, constructor will have same name as a class name. Constructor will have same name as class name. Constructor will have same name as class name. Next point. Constructor will not have any return type. Constructor will not have any return type, even void also. Constructor will not have any return type, even void also. Even void also. Next point. Constructor will be used to initialize the data members of a class. Constructor will be used to initialize the data members of the class. Data members of the class. Data members of the class. Next point. Constructor will be invoked only once. constructor will be invoked only once. Constructor will be invoked only once. That is at the time of creating object. That is at the time of creating object. At the time of creating object. Next one. The methods can be called any number of times, but constructor can call only one time. That is what the meaning. The regular method, if it is there, n number of times we can call this method. Display method I can call n number of times. But your constructor will call only at the time of new keyword while writing. One time it will call. One time it will call your constructor. First time only it will call. While initializing this object, first time only it will call this object. First time only it will call the object. But this method I can call n number of times. Obj.display I can write n number of times. N number of times we can call it. I don't. Method can be called any number of times. Method can be called any number of times. Do some practicals here. I remove this one. First exercise one. Case one. Case one. First write the syntax. After that we will see the use case. Better, right? Right. General syntax. First class we will create public class. Example. So how to create class name? Class name. Class name here. This is the general syntax. Public class name. Whatever class name, you have to define the same thing. Method brackets you have to give because I told it is a special method. It is a method. Time it will call. When it will call? When you are creating any time only. One time it will call. Now examples we will. First example. Create a Apex class employee constructor. Constructor. Write down this one, everyone. Syntax write down. This is the example one. What is the answer? How to create a constructor? How to create a constructor for this one?
Public class employee.
Class employee.
Public
Class.
employee.
The regular class.
Public employee.
Class name and your constructor name should be same. This is the answer. Example 2. Example create a Apex class. Create a Apex class. Print create a Apex class. Create a Apex class student. A constructor. A constructor. A constructor. Create a Apex class student with a constructor. Can anyone tell me syntax? I will ask someone. Pawan?
Public class student.
Yeah, tell me. Public
Class student.
print
Open parenthesis. Public student.
class name and
Yeah. Open and close the parenthesis.
write down. One more example. Example 3. Create a Apex class. Port line. Create Apex class port line with a constructor. A constructor. I'll tell this one. Lakshman, tell me. Lakshman, can you tell?
So, yes, sir. Public class is quotation, photo line.
Port line item is the class name, correct?
Yes, sir. Within the bracket. And public quote line items.
Third bracket.
Inside bracket and close.
Write down everyone.
Sir, can we use constructor in multiple classes?
Multiple classes means another class. Huh?
Yes,
This
sir.
is the code line item class. Here we are using.
And code line, can you use it constructor?
One more class if you create, then there we can use.
Yes, sir. That's what my
Or code line means it will not, the same class name it will not accept, right? In your you call force.com will
yes,
not
sir.
other class name you have to give at least code line item 1 or 2 like that you find, and there you can give constructor name. Everyone writing part completed. These three examples. One more example we have to see. Everyone done?
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Example 4. Write down example. Create a customer. Create a Apex class customer with data member. Phone number. Create a constructor. Create a constructor properly spelling and assign the assign the value as name name as Knox, comma age as let me create my side. Class customer. Public, what is the class name? Customer. Method brackets open. age equal to bottom. So this is what expected expectation. This requirement. Example 5. Create a apex class. Create a apex class. By underscore data members salary create a construct create a construct assign the value assign the create a method display to print the value the values. This is the requirement. You can try in the application this one example. Developer console you have to try. Developer console try. Try in the developer console. Values you need to assign in the where constructed, right? Writing part everyone done. Go to application. Writing part everyone completed. Just this one writing part everyone done. Just confirm me. You can try. Otherwise,
Completed, sir, in okay.
Implementation part you can try later.